Study in Australia, Episode 1. Hi, this is Hope from Study in Australia TV. Coming to study in Australia is an exciting and rewarding experience for many international students. To make sure you have a smooth introduction to your new life in Australia, it's important to be well prepared. Australia is a fantastic country with a relaxed, safe and multicultural society. Having a better understanding of Australia will help you deal with its culture, laws and people during your studies here. In this Study in Australia TV episode, I will cover some of Australia's history and origins that has shaped Australian society, Australians' population and culture, Australian climate and environment, as well as Australia's government structure. So, let's make a start with a bit of Australian history. Australia's Indigenous or native population, known as the Aboriginals, date back 60,000 years and are believed to have migrated to Australia via Papua New Guinea to the north of Australia by a land bridge that was exposed during the last ice age. The Aboriginals established themselves in all parts of Australia and are possibly the oldest continuous culture in human history. How amazing is that? Before European occupation, it's estimated that the Aboriginal population was anywhere between 300,000 to 1 million. Their population consisted of 500 different cultural groups that spoke 250 different languages or dialects. The Aborigines were hunters and gatherers. They moved within a broad territorial zone and took with them the few possessions necessary for hunting and preparation of food. In areas of plentiful food sources, they remained in a relatively small area, but in dry regions where food and water was scarce, they travelled greater distances to hunt. Traditional Aboriginal society is a complex network of kinship relationships. All members of the family unit have their own role and responsibilities. No formal government or authority exists, but social control is through the elders and their beliefs called the dreaming. These beliefs are expressed in their stories, their music, their art and dance. The Dreamtime stories are preserved and passed down through the generations. Some European explorers landed on the northern and western coast of Australia, as well as Tasmania to the south in the 1600s. But it wasn't until 1770 when British explorer James Cook first discovered and mapped the eastern coast of Australia for Great Britain, naming it New South Wales. This British settlement was established in 1788 as a colony at Botany Bay, which later became the city of Sydney. From this starting point, the colonisation of Australia grew rapidly and expanded across the entire continent. Within the next 100 years, additional colonies were established near present-day Hobart, Brisbane, Perth and Melbourne. Great Britain sent over 160,000 convicts to Australia over the following 80 years, and more settlers from Great Britain and Ireland arrived in the mid-1800s. During this time, the wool industry was established and gold was discovered. Between 1852 and 1889, about 40,000 Chinese immigrants came to Australia in search of gold. Governing the colonies from Britain was difficult, so in 1850 the British government gave the colonies the power to make their own laws. By the end of the 19th century, Australia consisted of 6 self-governing colonies: New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania, Queensland, South Australia and Western Australia. Each colony had its own distinct political power with its own parliament, governor, laws and regulations. In 1901, it was agreed that the colonies should join together, so a national government was created on January 1st, 1901, known as Federation. That is how Australia was formed as a united country. In 1915, Australia entered World War I to support Britain and joined with New Zealand to form the Anzacs that fought at Gallipoli. Australia remembers the 26,000 lives lost on the 25th of April each year. We call this day Anzac Day and celebrate the brave soldiers through a national public holiday. Almost 1 million Australians also fought in World War I. The Australian mainland came under attack under Japanese attack with the bombing of Darwin and the submarines in Sydney Harbour. Luckily, the attack was unsuccessful from the history books. Since World War II, about 7 million new settlers have migrated to Australia and have greatly influenced all aspects of Australian society. Today, nearly 1 in 4 Australians were born overseas, so a truly multicultural society. This brings me to tell you about Australia's population and culture. Australia's population is nearly 26 million, which in comparison to some other countries isn't all that big. Due to its large area of approximately 7.7 million square kilometres, Australia is one of the least densely populated countries in the world. And because the centre of Australia is so dry and hot, most of the population live close to the coast. Consequently, Australians are the most urbanised people in the world, with just over 60% of them living in capital cities. Australians pride themselves on their friendliness and cultural diversity. Australian society is largely considered safe, friendly, sophisticated and multicultural, as well as harmonious. Many ethnic groups are represented in Australia, making it one of the most culturally diverse countries in the whole world. Australia's multicultural mix is made up of 25% of Australians being born in another country and 25% of Australians having at least one parent who was born overseas. 2% of Australians are of Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander descent. The mix of Australians' migrant communities are from more than 140 countries around the world, which is really quite amazing. English is still the official language in Australia, but there are more than 200 additional languages spoken in Australian household. More than 3.1 million Australians speak another language other than English in home. Although the Australian accent is different to English-speaking countries, it's generally pretty easy to understand. There are some minor differences in accents between city and country areas, as well as between states and territories. What some visitors find more difficult is the Australian slang. Australians love to shorten their words. We call this the Australian slang. For example, some Australians might say arvo instead of afternoon, or barbie instead of barbecue, or roo instead of kangaroo. This can be funny and sometimes difficult for visitors to understand. On the topic of religion, Australia is predominantly a Christian country. However, all religions are represented in Australian society. Australians respect the freedom of people to practice their choice of religion. Churches, mosques, temples and synagogues are located in all the major cities. These represent the diverse mix of cultures to help connect visitors with similar communities. So now, I'm sure you're keen to find out what Australia's climate and environment is like. Australia has a relatively warm climate, but given Australia is a large continent, the climate can vary from the southern, more Mediterranean climate of 4 seasons to the northern tropical climate of dry and wet seasons. Overall, Australian cities tend to have mild climates and many days of beautiful sunshine. So the southern parts of Australia are temperate, with cool, wet winters and warm, dry summers. In the southern regions, you can experience snow, but only in the mountain areas. The northern states are more tropical. So, for instance, Brisbane and Darwin have tropical weather patterns with high humidity in the wet season. Sydney's weather is more subtropical, with warm summers but moderate humidity and cool winters. Importantly, Australia is known for its clean environment and low pollution levels. Australia has a wide variety of unique flora and fauna. The major reason for this is due to its geological history and isolation as a continent. Australia has some of the cutest animals in the world. Visitors love to cuddle a koala at some of the native wildlife zoos. It's one of the few places on Earth to have such a large number of marsupials. Marsupial mammals give birth to their young and carry them in a pouch until they're old enough to fend for themselves. Koalas, kangaroos and wombats are all marsupials. Australians also have monotreme mammals, which lay eggs instead of giving birth to live young. These are the platypus and the echidna. Australia's biodiversity has changed so much in the last 200 years. Many plants and animals have been introduced from around the world, with unfortunately a negative impact on the native species here. But there are so many programs funded by the Australian government and private organisations to try and combat this. Australia is an island continent with a landscape consisting of low plateaus and long, rugged mountain ranges. For example, the Great Dividing Range starts in central Victoria and ends in northern Queensland, and is several thousand kilometres in length. The landscape in the tropical north consists of rainforests that lead into large areas of grasslands. These merge into central deserts, which are the largest in the world outside of the Sahara. This part of Australia is called the Red Centre because of the unusual red colour of its sand. Australia has 3 unique natural wonders: the Great Barrier Reef, Uluru, also known as Ayers Rock, and the Tasmanian wilderness. The Great Barrier Reef, located in Queensland, stretches over 2,000 kilometres on the northeast continental shelf of Australia and covers an area of almost 35 million hectares. It runs from the north of Fraser Island to the tip of Cape York and has some amazing marine life. The reef is a scuba diver's paradise, with 2,900 individual reef, 350 different species of coral, and over 1,500 species of fish. It's also a great feeding ground for endangered species, such as dugongs and turtles. The Uluru-Kata National Park, located in the Northern Territory, covers 132,000 hectares close to the centre of Australia, and is home to the Anangu Aboriginal people. It contains a range of remarkable landform features, including the spectacular monoliths of Uluru and Kata, also known as the Ogres. The park is co-managed by Parks Australia and the Anangu people. Uluru has been the focus of religious, cultural and territorial significance among the Aboriginal people for the Western Desert for thousands of years. It is 340 metres high and has a circumference of 9.4 kilometres, and it's bright red, so you can see it from kilometres away. The island state of Tasmania to the south is separated from mainland Australia. The Tasmanian Wilderness World Heritage Area is one of the largest conservation reserves in Australia. It covers about 1.38 million hectares, or 20% of the Tasmanian island, and is one of only 3 temperate wilderness areas remaining in the southern hemisphere. This area contains rocks of every geological period, and is a major centre for plant diversity. The Huan pine trees located there can be up to 2,000 years old, and some of the oldest trees in the world. Time to find out more about Australia's major cities and its 7 states and territories. Canberra is Australia's federal capital, located in the Australian Capital Territory, or ACT, and is Australia's largest inland city. Set in a broad valley in the southern tablelands of New South Wales, Canberra is well planned and a lakeside city of parklands, impressive restaurants, beautiful bushland, leafy suburbs, and is where Australian government resides. Canberra is a 3-hour drive, or a 45-minute flight, southwest of Sydney. It has many national attractions, embassies and public buildings like the Parliament House, the Australian War Memorial, the National Gallery of Australia, and the National Museum of Australia. Sydney is located in the state of New South Wales, Australia's oldest state. A narrow coastal plain runs the length of its east coast, and to the west is the Great Dividing Range. Sydney is a beautiful city set on the coast with stunning waterways and beaches. New South Wales is the most populous state in Australia, and the majority of its population live along the coast. It has dense forests, alpine country, deserts inland, and golden sandy beaches, as well as bays on its north coast. Australia's longest river system is the Murray-Darling, which is situated in New South Wales. New South Wales is famous for the Sydney Opera House, the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and the Blue Mountains, a national park about 1 hour west of Sydney. With a population of 5 million, Sydney is a popular tourist destination and regularly ranks in the top 10 most livable cities in the world. Darwin is located in the Northern Territory. The inland is known for its central desert called the Red Centre. The main features are rugged mountain ranges and huge rocks rising from desert plains. Uluru, or Ayers Rock, is the most famous geological feature in this region. Darwin was originally established as a port and centre for cattle industry. Mineral wealth and tourism has become more important since then, and Darwin has recently reinvented itself as a gateway to Asia. The Northern Territory is famous for Kakadu National Park, which is east of Darwin, Alice Springs, a town in the centre of the Northern Territory, and Catherine Gorge National Park, or Nitmaluk, which is southeast of Darwin. Brisbane is located in the state of Queensland, which takes up about 1/5 of the area of Australia. Along its eastern coastlines are fertile plains and river valleys, which can extend up to 200 kilometres inland. The Great Dividing Range borders these lowlands, stretching south from Cape York into North New South Wales. The major agriculture products are tropical fruits, beef, and wool. Brisbane is known for its sunny days and tropical weather, and is now the fastest growing city in Australia. Just north of Brisbane are the beaches and coastal lakes of the beautiful Sunshine Coast, and to the south is the popular tourist destination of the Gold Coast, well known for its theme parks and surf beaches. Queensland is famous for the rainforests of far North Queensland, the Great Barrier Reef, which is more than 2,000 kilometres of coral reef northeast of the mainland, Fraser Island, which is the largest island in the world, 3 hours north of Brisbane, and the Gold Coast, a major holiday destination for national and international tourists. Adelaide, which is located in the state of South Australia, is the driest state in Australia. Over 60% of South Australia is desert and 80% receives less than 250 millimetres of rain per year. However, the southeast corner of the state, where Adelaide is located, has dry, warm summers and cool, wet winters. Along with rich, fertile soil, this climate makes it ideal for growing wine, and many wine regions are famous for producing world-quality wine. Adelaide, located on the coast, is a beautiful, gracious city surrounded by parklands and is home to 73% of South Australians. South Australia is famous for the Barossa Valley, a major wine-producing area northeast of Adelaide. Coober Pedy, an opal mining town in the north that is situated mostly underground due to the heat. And the Adelaide Festival of Arts, a world-class festival on the calendar each year. Hobart is located in Tasmania, which was cut off from mainland Australia at the end of the last ice age. Tasmania is known for its unique wildlife, wilderness and unspoken beauty. The national parks offer one of the last great wilderness areas in the world. Tasmania has substantial farming, forestry, hydroelectric mining and fishery industries. Hobart is a beautiful city located at the southern point of Tasmania and is known for its quality food and amazing oysters. Tasmania is famous for the Port Arthur Historic Site. This was once a prison for convicts. The Sydney to Hobart Yacht Race, which starts on the 26th of December every year, and its natural beauty and bushwalking. Many wilderness areas are only accessible on foot. Melbourne is located in the state of Victoria, which is the smallest state on Australia's mainland. Melbourne offers colonial and contemporary architecture, beautiful botanical gardens, and excellent restaurants. Its fashion, coffee, and vibrant artistic community is what makes Melbourne so great. Melbourne is considered Australia's sporting capital and holds the Melbourne Cup horse race, the Australian Tennis Open, and the Melbourne Grand Prix race every year. Victoria's high country offers some of the best mountain climbing and enjoyable skiing in Australia. Victoria is famous for the goldfields of central Victoria, sporting events, and the Great Ocean Road, which is a spectacular coastal scenic drive west of Melbourne. Perth is located in Western Australia, the largest state in Australia. Perth is situated on the Swan River and has all the modern conveniences while maintaining a friendly and relaxed lifestyle. White sandy beaches are only minutes from the city, and there's fantastic surf breaks south of the city. Rich farmlands lie inland, as well as some of the world's most productive goldfields. The state's wealth also includes iron, nickel, wheat, and wool, which are mostly exported from the port of Fremantle to Perth's south. The north of the state boasts a wide variety of attractions, including gorges and national parks, the stunning beaches of Broome, and the friendly dolphins at Monkey Mia. Western Australia is famous for Kalgoorlie, a gold mining town located in Western Desert, Ningaloo Marine Park, which is 1,200 kilometres north of Perth, and the Kimberleys National Park to the northeast of the city of Fremantle, which is about 20 minutes southwest of Perth. Last of all, I'm going to tell you about Australia's government system. This is so important, so stay with me. Australia has 3 levels of government: federal, state, and local government. Australia's federal government is a liberal parliamentary democracy and is based on freedom of speech and religious tolerance. Australia's constitution outlines all federal government activities and responsibilities, including foreign relations and trade, defence, and immigration. Other aspects of governance are shared between the states and the federal government. For example, federal and state governments cooperate in administering the laws that govern education in Australia. The Australian government is a popularly elected parliament with 2 chambers, the House of Representatives, or lower house, and the Senate, or upper house. The representatives are elected by the people over 18 years of age and represent a specific area in the people that reside there, known as their electorate. There are two major parties and a number of minor parties. The party that holds the majority of elected representatives, known as seats in the House of Representatives, forms the government. Minority parties often hold the balance in power in the Senate, which serves to review the decisions of legislation in the government. The federal government's leader is called the Prime Minister. Government ministers are selected and appointed by the Prime Minister from the lower house and upper house party, in power to form the cabinet. Policy decisions are made in cabinet meetings. Voting in Australia is compulsory and elections occur every 3 years. Although Australia is an independent nation, Queen Elizabeth II of Britain is still formally Queen of Australia and is the constitutional monarch. The Queen accepts the advice of the elected Australian government to appoint a Governor-General, who represents her. The Governor-General has wide powers, but the Convention acts only on the advice of the Prime Minister. In the states, the Queen is represented by state governors. Each state and territory has its own democratically elected government and leader. The state government leader is called the Premier, and the territory leader is called the Chief Minister. State parliaments are subject to the national constitution as well as their state constitutions. In practice, the federal and state governments cooperate in many areas, such as education, transport, health, and law enforcement. Local Government Council controls the urban and rural areas, taking care of issues such as local transport, rubbish collection, and town planning. Local councils are active in providing services such as libraries, schools, childcare services, as well as activities and events. The leader of a council is called the Mayor. So that's the end of Study in Australia TV Episode 1. I hope you've learnt a lot about Australia's history, culture, climate, environment, and how Australia is governed. Please let us know if you have any questions. We would love to hear from you. Bye for now.